Okay, so I think we've got a good number of people who have joined. So thanks everyone for joining. We won't wait too much longer. I think other people are going to be joining. Some people are also watching us on YouTube, since we're broadcasting live on YouTube, and it's going to be recorded there as well. So it's kind of a little new thing for us. So thanks everyone. Welcome to today's webinar by ServiceNext on demystifying artificial intelligence and chatbots for the enterprise. I'm your host, Fal Sarkar, and today I'll be interviewing some very interesting people doing some great work around AI and chatbots, all new stuff. And we're really excited. But just as a quick introduction on what we're doing this week, I'm working here for Suneratech and representing Suneratech. And this week we've been doing a series of webinars on thought leadership to complete your journey to the cloud puzzle. Many people, of course, see the cloud as a journey. We also see it as a puzzle that needs to kind of be fit together, and each company has their own unique pathway to the cloud. What Suneratech does is we have a series of companies, series of business units that provide a range of solutions around all sorts of things like digital supply chain, lift and shift. Today we're going to be talking about chatbots, application integration, application testing, etc. And so we've been doing this webinar. This is our fourth webinar this week. The first day we had on digital supply chain for manufacturing. On Tuesday, we talked about automated cloud integration with the Oracle Integration Cloud. Yesterday, we had a great discussion around Cloud Tester, which is release testing and validation testing for cloud applications like HCM Cloud and ERP Cloud. Today, we're going to be talking about artificial intelligence and chatbots. And tomorrow, we will end this week of webinars right before Open World next week on lift and shift workloads to Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. Just a quick note about Suneratech. Suneratech is a born in the cloud company. We work with organizations to accelerate digital transformation with the help of pre-built solutions that help people in their journey to the cloud and their digital transformation of their businesses, as well as their employees and the marketplace. The way we do this is we have a three-switch framework. One leg, if you will, is automation in IT, automation in business processes, and streamlining processes, creating integration between different types of applications and business processes through the use of automation. The second thing that we do is we focus on cloud migration, enabling your applications, whether they're on-premise or born in the cloud, moving applications to the cloud through cloud migration strategies and services. And then finally, once you're on the cloud, we drive digital innovation through solutions that are on the cloud. And I mentioned a few here, of course, like digital supply chain and lift and shift and the Cloud Tester, and of course today on AI and chatbots. So all of these solutions in this webinar will be talked about how you can deploy it within your company. So today's discussion, as I mentioned, is going to be on chatbots. And the idea is that AI chatbots are a top priority for many people I'm going to switch applications here. Oh, by the way, if anybody have any questions, you can click the Q&A button on your taskbar. It'll pop open, and then you could actually ask a question and submit it. The other way you can ask questions is you can go to the chat window and submit a chat, and we'll be monitoring that, and we'll be happy to answer questions during the webinar. So any of those things would be fine. Let me actually go up here. And go back home. Right, so ServiceNext chatbots combine AI and adaptive learning and cognitive computing to deliver personalized personalized and proactive solutions with predictive experiences. And this is what ServiceNext does, and we will focus on showing you the reason how we do that, as well as some demonstrations. Today's agenda is we'll have introductions to the speakers, and then we're talking about AI industry trends and challenges and opportunities. We'll be talking about artificial intelligence for CIOs. What are some of the advantages and business case? How do you build a business case? What are smart bots? How are smart bots deployed in the enterprise to accelerate time to market? Then we'll cover a few case studies and demonstrations for Neopost USA and Volkswagen, and then we will be having a call to action. So I want to introduce actually our speakers, and the speakers for today's speakers are, come down here, and is Vinil Vadi, who's CEO and co-founder of ServiceNext. ServiceNext is a Suneratech company, and they'll be showing you the applications and chatbots have developed. And we have a special guest today, Anthony Gonzalez from Force Impact Technologies. And he's been working with ServiceNext, and he'll be sharing some of his experiences from a customer perspective. Vinil, are you there?
Hey, Sal. Hi.
Hey, great. So can you just quickly introduce yourself, say a few words, and then I'll have Anthony introduce himself, and then I'll hand this over to you.
Sure. So thanks for that, Sal. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining in. I'm Vinil Vadi. I co-own and manage ServiceNext. I'm responsible for growth strategy and product at ServiceNext. So wanted to spend a few minutes on getting the terms of reference, because bots and chatbots are very new to most of the people, right? So wanted to spend a few minutes on what bots are, what do they mean for enterprises, right? Not just a cool thing, but what actual utility value do they have, and how are they becoming very strategic to businesses. So I'll spend a minute there, and then introduce our distinguished guest today, Anthony Gonzalez. So without further ado, I'm sure we all have experienced chatbots or voice bots in our daily lives, including Alexa and Google Homes, and whenever you call your telecom provider, you must have encountered a bot. But from a business perspective, from a CIO perspective, if you're a marketing leader or a CIO or a customer service leader, you might be working on a chatbot initiative, or at least thinking about that, or thinking in that direction, right? If not, then there's an interesting, viewpoint there. In a recent study by HubSpot, they suggest that if you're not already building a bot for your business, then you're behind, right? So let me give you a real life example of how that translates, right? Of a cable company in Midwest, how they are using bots to get ahead of competition using a marketing bot on their website. So this company used a chatbot on their website to guide prospects to choose the right cable package for them, right? Which includes kind of like data, TV channels if you see, or what kind of modern equipment that you want, stuff like that. So once they did that, they saw a 5% increase in subscription rate, right? 5%. So that means that they have taken away those many customers from their competitors, right? So long story short, bots are here to stay. They're very strategic to, in improving your service or your customer experience and get ahead of competition, I guess. So coming back to this introduction of what are bots, right? So we know bots are playing a very important role, but what are bots? Very simplistically, a bot is a computer program which kind of mimics the capabilities of a human agent by understanding what users are looking for, or kind of fetching the answer or completing a task that the user wants to complete by integrating with your back office systems like an ERP or a CRM to place an order or to get your pricing information or whatever that is. So the three key words here are, you will often hear AI and NLP. AI and NLP is nothing but a technology which bots use to understand what users are asking for or what they're saying, right? The second term that you would most hear is enterprise integrations. So that means bot integrate with your back office systems like the billing system or your CRM to fetch customer history or to get pricing information on products and stuff like that. And the third most important thing you'll hear about omni-channel. So what's a channel? Channels are where bots live, right? Channels are used by users to chat with your bots, like a Facebook Messenger, or imagine a chat widget on your website, a Slack, a Skype for Business, or any other messenger for that matter. So yeah, hopefully that 101 helped. So let me introduce you to Anthony.
Oh, wait, Vinod, sorry to interrupt you. We had a poll here. Should I launch the poll and people can answer?
Okay. Sure.
Great. So we have a poll here asking, have you experienced a voice or chatbot in a customer support, service support, or any other solution? We'll just take a couple of minutes here to submit.
Oh, Pal, but it says host and panelists can't vote. That's not fair.
Wait, you're going to skew the numbers, Vidal. You're chatbotting all the time.
Okay.
You're probably debugging more than like solving any kind of customer service problem. Okay, great. So we have so far, 35 people have answered in the positive, 97%.
Sure. So, Pal, I think, in the paucity of time, should we move forward?
We'll move forward. Okay, great.
Yeah.
So you want to introduce Anthony?
Yeah, I'll do that, Pal. So thank you, Anthony, for joining. So Anthony is our distinguished guest and a very, very dear friend of mine. Anthony is the CEO and co-founder of Force Impact Technologies. It's one of the leading IoT-based sports business company, which is generating a whole lot of interest, especially among sports, sports clubs, or you might say sports people. He's also, interestingly, one of the leaders on the AI forum for biotech in California, where he's helping more than 1,500 plus CIOs on strategy for AI in terms of how AI can help in their business, and how they can leverage, what are the business benefits that they can leverage using AI. So he's a thought leader, and we wanted him to share some of his thoughts on what are the trends and challenges and opportunities in the AI space, and most importantly, why he thought what we do at ServiceNext makes sense for both, ForceFit as a company to adopt to ServiceNext, as well as how he's been talking about and promoting ServiceNext among his own network. So over to you, Anthony.
Thanks so much. Can everyone hear me okay? Just making sure it sounds good. I'm Anthony Gonzalez. I'm the CEO of Force Impact Technologies, and I'm also the entrepreneur in resident for Biocom, which is California's Life Science Association. Within that trade group, I lead the Artificial Intelligence Committee. And so that committee deals with government and public policy, deals with various federal and regulatory agencies, and very much focuses on how AI applies to life sciences. As you may or may not be aware, AI is kind of a big, broad, all-encompassing topic. And I do believe that in the future, the biggest trend that I see is the fragmentation of AI into specific verticals that require specific skill sets and backgrounds, and will start to partition what AI means. And the biggest partition I see is the initial diversification between AI as it applies to the automotive industry, and then AI as it applies to the healthcare industry. And of course, you have all these other permutations of AI, whether it's natural language processing or statistical modeling or optimization. And so it is a very big buzzword. And so I do want to kind of delineate about what I'm talking about. So specifically within my company, we use two different forms of artificial intelligence. Obviously, the form that ServiceNext was referred to as a chatbot is phenomenal for our customers for a multitude of reasons. First of all, the population we're serving tends to be more in the adolescent age range. And that mode of communication is very comfortable for our clients and our customers. The typical younger generation is not the first person to pick up the phone and dial a 1-800 number and have a live person on the phone, nor do they even appreciate that. So having a chatbot and being able to provide a communication channel that is on par with how our customers like communicate is just a great consequential benefit of the chatbot. And then specifically, since we are a new product in a new category, by the way of our intelligent mouthguards that we use to collect impact data, there's a lot of questions. People want to know how big this is, if this can fit their kid, if this is right for every sport. And thankfully, because we have some fairly rigid guidelines and parameters, and most of our questions are dichotomous, AI is an excellent solution for us. And we had a lot of different providers that we could choose from, but we really like ServiceNext's approach, building out a framework and then training the AI and really customizing to match with our company tone. We like to have a little bit of a flair when we communicate, and we're more of an outlandish, flamboyant company with our company tone and communication style. And so I feel that having this chatbot being able to learn for how we'd like to respond to these questions, and we're very careful about how we respond to them because we're in this gray area. We don't want people thinking we're diagnosing concussions, and we don't want misinformation being spread. And having this structure really allows us to grow and optimize and make sure that this communication channel is appropriate. And then the most useful part is the business intelligence that we get from this, and the fact that we can reconcile it back to some type of CRM system and create opportunities and have follow-up and really dive deep into figuring out what our customers are asking about, and using that business intelligence data to tweak maybe how we are onboarding or how the customer is first engaging with our product, because we've received a bunch of questions about how to start it or how to turn the product on. And so perhaps we can do a better job of getting in front of that and forecasting where these issues are. And so I think that is super valuable to us and to our clients. And so everyone's a winner from that. And then just to kind of talk about more of a higher level view, because I dived into some of the specifics of how this is very useful to me. I think artificial intelligence as an industry does have some interesting opportunities ahead of us, specifically when it comes to the FDA and the FDA's regulation and guidelines on artificial intelligence. The FDA approaches a trade association like Biocom, and that Biocom goes to our committees and asks for feedback. And so our community is able to shape how the federal regulatory agencies are going to regulate the AI community. And so specifically when you're focusing on software as a medical device, or you're in any type of pathology or slide reading or breast cancer detection, and you're going for a classified medical device, software-based AI, how much rigor and how much documentation do you need in the development process? What level of quality management systems and protocols do you need to have in place to apply for FDA submission? A lot of this is in the gray area. And so really what I'm excited for the future is having some more explicit and vivid rules about the process of developing and growing, so that we can have a better understanding of how to develop, and then there's a little bit less risk on the regulatory environment for moving forward with that for final submission.
Okay. Sorry, yeah. Anthony. Hey, Vanilla, are you moving the slides?
No, Fal.
Okay. Then somehow let me just kind of take control of it again.
Of course.
That was kind of going way out of whack here. Hang on a second.
Yeah, no worries. I wasn't sure if I was supposed to speed up or something, like you were turning on the music at the Emmys or something.
Yeah, let me actually get back to where you were here. Great. All right, I'm going to just kind of move to the next window here. Okay, great. How about this, Anthony? Can we start back here?
See your screen.
Okay. I got to get back on here. Where the heck are we here?
So maybe I can share my screen. Should I share my screen?
Yeah, if you want to go back to that. Yeah, why don't you?
Okay. Do you think you're able to see my screen then?
Yeah, we're able to see it. Go ahead and do the full screen. Yeah, okay. That was kind of weird. Got out of control. All right, go ahead.
So thanks so much. Passing it off back to Vanel with ServiceNext.
Okay, good. Well, before you do that,
Okay.
Anthony, could I ask you a quick question?
Please.
It's fascinating. You mentioned Mouthguards that have detectors in it. So is that like is that for concussions and hits and stuff like that, like in sports or football or things like that? And is there an IoT type of component in your Mouthguard? Have you brought that into that kind of body
I mean, the
Right.
Mouthguard itself is an IoT product. So we embed printed electronics that has MEM sensors, Bluetooth, flash, battery, and LED notification, and we are quantifying rates of acceleration on 9 degrees of freedom. The Mouthguard actually lights up and changes colors when a risk tolerance has been breached. And that risk threshold is defined by age, weight, gender, and most importantly, historical head impact information. So what happened yesterday, what happened last week as far as impacts. And so that's one aspect of our AI deployment, and that's one vertical of AI.
Fascinating.
And so
we'll have
that
a separate discussion on that itself. That seems
of course. And yeah, so AI is a big word, but we're using AI as it comes to risk indication. We're using AI, natural language processing. And so AI is a very big word that has specific verticals that can be very different skill sets. When you're hiring or contracting someone, their background for automotive AI could have nothing to do with chatbot AI. So I always like to make sure that people understand that AI is a big fluffy title, and it's not always translational to your vertical, your solution, or your product. And so you really need to understand who you're working with and partner with individuals who understand that as well.
Sure. Great. All right. Thank you. Go ahead, Vinod. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Anthony. Let's talk a little bit about what Tal was talking earlier in terms of what the agenda is. How do we figure out for especially CIOs and business leaders, right? What are the advantages? How do you build a business case, or what smart parts are, right? So when it comes to what is AI and how are CIOs looking at AI today, right? So let's talk about it in two things, right? How important and strategic is AI and chatbots to functions like marketing and customer service? How important is it, and why is it so strategic, right? So in recent surveys done by Forrester and Gartner and other analysts, it shows that more than 70% of CIOs and other functional leaders have already budgeted for AI projects, right? Especially focused on automating marketing and service desk functions, right? These projects are mostly seen as being tools to gain competitive advantage or competitive edge by providing a superior customer experience. So that's about the strategy. And now, if you look at why build bots, right? While the target is to improve customer experience, what are the challenges that bots are solving today, right? So bots are, a lot of organizations or enterprises that we work with, bots are being deployed to solve some big challenges in existing customer experience, right? And the top 4 challenges that we have often come across are lightning fast personalization, zero wait time, and 24/7 availability, true omnichannel, and guided selling experience. So let's take an example of Jane, right? And let's say if you're managing a telecom business, right? And Jane is interacting with you. Here's how a bot can, provide superior experience at note this point, at 1/10 the cost of a human agent, right? And we've all experienced bots at some point or the other, or this experience with human agents at some point or the other, right? So let's say Jane is looking, called you in for a question, she got disconnected, and then what happens? She calls back, and then she gets a different agent, and she has to tell the whole story again. We have all experienced that before, right? But what if a bot can, identify Jane and say, hey, you know what, let me connect you back to John, the same person, so that you don't have to, start over the conversation again, right? So let's say if Jane is calling in today after hours, if you're not 24/7, so then, the bot can say, hey, let me leave a message for Tom, right? And then, call you, Tom can call you back at a good time tomorrow. Let me know that time, right? And that is how, people are using 0-8 and 24/7 service where you're not turning the customer away. Right? And then,
so that looks like your bots have a lot of like superpowers. They could determine how to make decisions and things like that. Can you tell us a little bit more about that stuff?
That's the whole point, pal, right? You are having a connected experience, right? So where the bot is able to, improve the experience and the touch points for customers, right? So coming to the superpowers that you are talking about, that's right, pal. A single bot can work, can do the work of 5,000 agents at 1/10 the cost, right? Being a computer program, they can outpace human agents with their multitasking capabilities and speed. In the end, they save a lot of time for end customers, right? So that is the biggest point. They're able to weave they're able to understand the context of why users are calling, and then they're able to provide a connected experience, right?
Great. Yep, we're just to let you know, we're at the halfway mark at the bottom of the hour. So what could be some of the financial upsides of this? So you mentioned, of course, saving, people and time.
Right. So the financial savings that a bot can bring is like a huge plus or a bonus for any business, right? So bot interactions cost 10 cents compared to a $4 human agent-led interaction, right? While a lot of people argue that, when they start of the journey that, the experience of a human-led interaction is unmatched and bots can catch up. So here's a viewpoint on that by, a recent article that I was reading in Gartner, saying when e-com first started out, people were skeptical, citing limiting factors like, people will only buy when there's touch and feel, that they won't share credit card details online. However, we all know that, speed and convenience trumped, right, over all other factors. So guess bots are here to stay, and we can expect about 70 to 80% of all customer service and marketing interactions to be automated by 2020.
Great.
Sure. So moving on to the important question of, how do as a CIO or a marketing or a customer service leader, how do I build a business case, right? AI being a relatively new technology, a lot of CIOs realize that they don't have the required expertise internally to get started with bot initiatives, right? I've talked to at least 60 odd CIOs in the last 3 months and functional leaders in marketing and customer service. And the key question they ask is, how can we build a solid business case which can address things like what will the business outcomes of this AI initiative will be? Right? How much time and money will I have to invest? Will the technology be future-proof? What will be the ROI? And the biggest question, where will I find the money for this? Right? So let's look at some how we can build a business case to answer some of these questions. Most importantly,
quick question on that, and I'll start to interrupt. Who's usually the one who's driving these business cases? You mentioned, is it IT usually drives it, or is it the business line of business? Do they have to work together? Is one usually ahead of the other in terms of driving the need for this type of solution?
The business case is always So there is the role of CIO is getting changed, right, pal? So CIO is now Chief Innovation Officer. It's not anymore Information Officer, right? So it's key for CIOs to become those transformation leaders, right? So for example, if marketing is looking to or customer service leader is looking to automate using chatbots, then it's the CIO's job to, implement the initiative, right? And most importantly, to figure out how he can do this initiative using a self-funded transformation initiative, because there is no new money, right? So bots have to pay for themselves, right? Or even better, save cost, right? But to depict, but to build a business case which can do that is the critical and first step to go about that.
To do that.
So
we have a question. Sorry, Vinay, we have a quick question from the chat window here. Clifford saying that they've deployed an employee-facing chatbot to drive some self-service and automation and reducing the need to call IT help desk all the time. Are you seeing a difference in adoption rates between this kind of internal-facing chatbot to do kind of employee-facing stuff versus outside customer-facing bot? Is there a different approach to this, or is it both building similar business cases?
No, it's a very, very similar business case, right? So the most important thing is, to find out what the business outcomes are going to be, right? When it comes to internal help desk, what you're saying is, am I saving time for my employees and increasing my overall productivity, right? So it's the same, right? So you're saying, what are the X factors, right? The bot can do. Today, if my agent is able to help my employee in resolving a ticket in 1 hour time, can a bot do it in 5 minutes time and save that important, and improve that productivity, right? So the simple framework is that you start off with, identifying 3 high impact use cases, right? Where you can automate 60 or 70% of the repeated tasks that your support desk is getting, right? And right up front, you kind of define your ROIs or X factors, saying, okay, before and after. So before, my situation is that, I'm spending so much money, I'm spending so much time, and my experience is like this. So after, how should it be? After the bot, what should it be, right? And most importantly, select a proven tech, right? Where you're saying, okay, my bot is using the best of the breed technologies out there, right? And finally, but not least, right? Where is the money coming from? Who's the sponsor for my project, right? So, because unless we are able to prove that it's a self-funded transformation, that a bot can pay for itself and also save you money, it's going to be very difficult for the businesses to adopt any new initiative today. Right? Right. We have seen that multiple times. Right. So, and then the most important thing is, to define a strategy where you are investing in an asset-light model, right, and not spending $500,000 in building the bot and predicting an ROI about 6 years later, right? So those are some of the important things on the business case.
Oh yeah, and great. And I was just going to ask you this because we've been talking about this as well offline. You mentioned smart bots. What are smart bots, and how do they kind of relate to the broader topic we're talking about?
Right. So generally speaking, bots, when they are deployed, they are like babies, right? Which means that they are dumb, right? They, however, learn very fast by consuming what we call as bot training, large amounts of data, like human agent, conversations that were archived in the past. This process, but anywhere, takes between 6 to 8 months, right? So in comparison, smart bots are like experienced agents today. They come with a knowledge of what your business and business end users would frequently ask for. Plus, they also come with pre-built integrations like your back office systems, like your CRMs, your ERPs, to complete user requested transactions like payments or get your pricing model or what you have or information on return policy or whatever that is. Right? So smart boards are kind of deliver greater time to value, right? So generally bots can take anywhere between 12 to 18 months before you see a huge amount of savings happening or a huge amount of exponential experiential benefits coming in. But smart bots can kind of crumple the timeline by almost like 3 or 4 months.
Okay. Next slide.
Yeah. So ServiceNext has been focused on building smart bots which can reduce time to value significantly, right? We've been working with large enterprises like Volkswagen, Neopost, Audi in deploying smart bots, which are delivering tangible benefits by meeting customer experience objectives, reducing the total cost of ownership, and the fact that some of our smart bots picked up a few awards doesn't hurt.
Yeah, and so that's interesting. You have a whole range of customers across industries. Of course, we talked, listened to Anthony, who's doing something really interesting. So what are some of the key success factors for building a really impactful bot that works?
That's a great question, Sal. So having done a lot of bot deployments, we have realized that building a bot is not a technical challenge, right? The AI, NLP, and machine learning has already been taken care of by players like Oracle, Amazon, Lex, Watson, and Google, right? To the extent that they've been deeply commoditized. These players will continue to pour billions in the tech to evolve it. So if it's not the technology, what is the challenge? The biggest challenge is the domain knowledge pal, right? And the ability to weave empathetic, experience, conversational experience into bots so that they have a very powerful utility value, right? So smart bots bring that edge, right? They're not just programs or code or a technical product or a framework. They are a packaged solution. And they come with, the following important points, right? They have vertical AI. They have embedded vertical AI, which helps bots understand the taxonomy of the domain, right? So, sorry. So the taxonomy of the domain, for example, a smart bot deployed in telecom understands balance as your talk time balance, as against a smart bot deployed in banking, which understands balance as an account balance. And the most important capability is having the right conversational design experts within your team who can study your existing culture and weave conversational dialogues that reflect your culture and empathy, right? Banks can be formal, or it could be a fun e-commerce, or it could be plain utility. So that is the key winning factor, I guess, for building successful or deploying successful bots.
Right.
Does it make sense?
It does. It does. Very interesting. So just as a time check, we're at the 40 past the hour, 20 minutes left.
Sure. So we've been talking a lot of smart bots. At ServiceNext, we've built about 6 smart bots, 3 of them functional in the functional areas of marketing, customer support, and somebody was talking about IT and help desk, HR help desk, right? So we built these 3 bots in the functional areas, and in the vertical bots, we kind of built conversational bot for financial solutions, AI bot for communications like telcos and cable companies, and then of course we built conversational commerce bots for e-commerce companies. So on the functional bots, customers are using our marketing smart bots to increase website leads, and customer service bots to respond 10x faster, like we discussed, and to reduce call cost by about 75%. Help desk bots are being used to resolve tickets 4 times faster and improve employee productivity. So moving on, when it comes to vertical bots, communication companies like Hearst Communications, Hearst Media are using the bots to increase leads and ARPU by using the next best action and next best offer workflow and journey builder that we have. Similarly, Nectar Juice in California is using our guided selling bot on their e-commerce website to increase sales and reduce cart abandonment.
So you mentioned, one more thing to know. You mentioned the last slide, Oracle Autonomous Mobile Enterprise Cloud. Is that Oracle's bot platform? Is that a development platform that you would build bots on?
Yeah. So our smart bots are built on top of Oracle platform, and I'll get into that in a minute, right? Okay. So before that, we talked a lot about domain AI and smart bots, right? So just to give you an overview, the way these work is that we have domain experts at ServiceNext who have the deep experience, who come with deep experience in marketing and customer support functions, And these guys are crafting intent libraries into our smart boards, right? Where and like for example, phones. What are the probable intents that users come in with, right? With regard to phones or with regard to plans, right? So these intent libraries have been pre-built, and we have assembled so far about 1,800 plus intent libraries for faster time to value, right? And we continue to add them on a daily basis. Right? So on the vertical bots, on Telecom Boards, our domain experts along with conversational designers have put together a transformational solution, which is out of box using smart boards that can help a business extend seamless experience in every step of a user journey or touch point. Right from lead stage, you can see lead or acquisition stage to customer onboarding stage to retaining. For telcos, we have built about 6+ smart boards which can help in service activation, recommendation for the right plan based on usage history, or scheduling a tech support visit, troubleshooting issues that you have, and helping with billing related questions, right? And similarly with the financial services, you can see again that we have smart boards that can help with personalized banking transactions, recommend and manage portfolio-based decisions, so that could help. So quickly moving on, so I wanted to show you 2 demos today. The first is Coda. So let me know if you can see my screen. So Pal, can you see my screen?
Yes, we can. Yep. We see this Coda website.
So, right. So the first demo, I have chosen a smart bot for marketing and of course customer service a little bit. We deployed at Skoda, right, which is a very, very popular car in Asia Pac. The brand is owned by Volkswagen. These guys, the challenge was they were spending a ton of money in getting visitors to their website, but they were not able to convert them into prospects, right? Visitors were not signing up for test drives using their form on their website. So we kind of put a bot here, right, which would quickly engage with a visitor and sign him up for him or her for a website. So let's say I don't go to Skoda. And then the bot goes ahead and mind you, this is a live bot. And then it kind of shows me the latest award-winning models that it has. And, let's say I like the Kodak. And then, based on the next best action. So we have derived that people are interested in looking at the color once they like a particular model. Let's say I like the black. I do a test drive. It asks me for my name and the mobile number, and let's say I type okay. So it corrected my spelling. I skip on the email, and I select a date and a time, and that, boom, right? So within about 30 seconds, I was able to get through to the desired action, and I was able to set up a test drive. So now let's look at the impact of this, right? So the bot was able to, this is a live dashboard, was able to interact with close to more than 100,000 users with 300,000 queries. And most importantly, they went from 10 test drives a week to almost 300 test drives a week, right? And you can see at the peak, the bot was able to, was talking to about, close to 5,000 users a day, right? At scale, we are able to now, impact the brand, and, they are able to significantly see that their marketing spend is being monetized. So moving on to another demo. This is for Neopost. This is a voice bot that we did for. So Neopost is a billion-dollar global company who manufacture office automation machines which have the capability to print out millions of personalized documents like credit card and bank statements. These massive machines are have a very time-critical job. As statements have to go out in time, you can't you can send the statement after the due date and things like that, right? So there are only two major companies in this space, Neopost and Boss, and these machines are leased out using yearly contracts. So if the machine is malfunctioning or breaking down constantly, then the customer would not renew your contract, and then you lose your business. At Neopost, the support team, the challenge was they were losing contracts because the support team was not 24/7, and then the team was struggling to meet support demand with call wait times as high as 6 to 8 minutes. So when we were asked to deploy a smart bot for them, it was very challenging for us because they had 60 plus machine models, with most of them having different troubleshooting mechanisms, but we were able to successfully pull it off together using a combination of conversational design and machine learning, where they gave us their previous conversational history between agent and user, and we were able to deduce from that and train the bot very quickly. So let's hear how the bot performs one of the troubleshooting functions.
Thank you for calling Neopost USA. This is Kate. For support assistance, please ensure you are next to your machine and have the model number. If you have the model number, say yes, or say no if you do not.
Yes.
Thank you. Can you please tell me about the issue you are having today?
90 days security timeout.
I can provide assistance with your issue. Please select postage machine series from the following options.
Completed. Completed.
Say yes if the issue is resolved, or say no if it's not.
So in the paucity of time, I kind of, forwarded the entire conversation, but you can see that the machine the bot was able to hang on to a user for about 4 minutes in troubleshooting the entire machine. And then, it was able to, you can see on the screen that, it was able to successfully resolve that and able to troubleshoot that machine. So were you able to hear the bot, Sam?
Yeah, perfectly clear, actually. It was good.
Sure. So going back to one of the questions that you had was, what is the technology stack that we use, right? So you can see it on the screen. So mostly our smart bots are built on Oracle, right? The majority of our smart bots are built on Oracle. We use the Oracle Integration Cloud for, integrating with your business applications like your CRM, GRP, service desk, whatever, what you have. And we also have out-of-box conversational bots, which include the smart bots, include guided selling bot, recommendation bot, account billing bot. So you name it, we have it across functions and, across the 3 verticals that we talked about. So let's look at, what are the 3 or 4 key capabilities that you need for deploying bots. So the most important thing is you need to think about how do I train my bot, right? So you need a lot of experience in conversational design and in bot training. That's one. Second is how do I integrate with my enterprise back office systems, right? What is the infrastructure that I need? And the most important thing is the conversational design piece, where you need to have expertise in weaving empathetic dialogues and workflow design so that the bot has the highest utility value. And of course, being enterprises, we can't compromise on security and how do we securely deploy that on cloud or on premise and stuff like that. So I think these are the 4 key capabilities that we need to have in mind when we are looking at bot deployment. So as smart bots, what is the kind of journey for deployment? So we have based on all our experience, we have come up with a fast track implementation strategy where you go from week 1 with identifying the use cases, and then by week 6, you are almost like transitioning and going live.
How does one go about identifying use cases? I mean, is it basically identifying where maybe problems exist within the organization, or they're seeing inefficiencies, or maybe labor cost is too high? What are some of the reasoning behind choosing a use case?
Yeah. So like we discussed in the use cases, right? In building the business case, we need to select some high impact use cases, right? What does that mean? The high impact use cases are generally where you see three things. One is, what are the most repetitive questions that my users are asking for, repetitive information requests or transactions that my users are asking for, which can be automated, right? By identifying those three, you should be able to get at least 30 or 40% more productivity and saving. But at the same time, you are not picking those use cases which have a lot of personal or human judgment involved use cases, right? So you go after the low-hanging fruit first, which are the easy ones to automate, prove the value, and then you kind of keep building on top of that. So that's the strategy that we saw work a lot at a lot of enterprises. Does it make sense?
Yeah, that's great. I mean, and that's where this kind of discussion is really important, right? Because having someone like you or your team there who have worked across all of these industries, you can kind of pull on that experience to share.
No, absolutely. Like I said, it's not about technology. It's not a technological challenge anymore, Sal. Because technology has been commoditized, very, very deeply, right? And it's continuing to do so. But the success of a bot is in how empathetic is the conversation that the bot is having, and the kind of utility value, right? And the domain understanding the bot has. So those are the key, 3 or 4 key success factors for a bot to come out, winning. Right. So as ServiceNext, how are we differentiated, right? So the most important thing is, the way we engage with, a lot of enterprises, we bet the IBMs and the Amazons to a lot of deals. The way we were able to do that is because we were able to empathize with the business line, with the business leaders, right? So where we said, okay, you don't have to do a capital intensive, bot project, right? Let's do, we offer you a pay-as-you-go model, right? And we will build a business case which will show you ROI drafted within 3 months, right? And as a risk, right? So we see this, all the time, right? People, business leaders are saying, hey, should I take this up at all, right? Is it going to be a risky proposition? Am I going to lose a ton of money on this and not get anything out of it? So we engage with a no-risk proof of value, right? Where we kind of take those 3 use cases and say, hey, let me do these use cases at my dime, right? And then, you can see the, value out of it, 3 months down the line, you think the bot is working well. Then, let's go and engage on a commercial engagement, right? And most importantly, with all this, right, we are built on already tested and the cutting edge technologies like Oracle, Google, and Amazon. So we are enterprise grade, right? So I think, the engagement model that we set up has been very, very easy and efficient for business leaders and CIOs to adopt and say, hey, you know what, let me go and do this, because these are the 4 things that I saw as risk, but these guys have, kind of come in and canceled out those 4 risks for me to, try out a bot and see what the results are.
Great. Wow, that's pretty comprehensive there. You covered a lot of stuff. So you're going to be, so let me just kind of throw out, if people have questions, they could, I guess, raise their hand and see if I could kind of activate you, or you could submit the chat. You could also submit questions through the Q&A sessions. And you'll be at Open World next week, right, Vanilla? Is that Is that the case?
Yes, Sal. Yeah. I'll be available. My team is there, right?
Okay.
And then, yeah.
Great.
People can call us at our booths, so you can see that on the screen.
Right. And you'll be presenting these in our booth. Yeah, booth number 3101. Sorry to interrupt there. Clifford actually asked another question. Recognizing that all business cases will be different, what is a typical break-even point on the cost to implement a ServiceNext chatbot solution?
Right. I think that's a very, very interesting question, right? So we come with no breakpoints attached, right? So what we say is, let's define the 3 use cases that you think will give you at least 30%, agent deflection, right? And, till the time we reach 30% agent deflection, we don't engage, commercially at all, right? So we are committed to that, right? As ServiceNext, we are committed to that. And in some cases, it was lightning quick. In some cases, it took us, 4.5 months. But then, yeah, we kept invested, and we were able to see results. So the break point does not exist, at least when you engage with ServiceNext, right?
Mm-hmm. Great, Cliff says thanks. That makes sense. And then in terms of the pre-work that's needed before a project starts, is there a lot of learning that has to go on on your company to understand each unique customer situation, or do you feel you have enough experience that you could kind of accelerate that customer delivery experience?
Absolutely. So the whole stack of smart bots is designed to do that, right? So where the bot is coming in with enough domain knowledge, right? Enough functional knowledge. So you have seen the pre-built bots, right? Mm-hmm. So my bots out of the box, can do for example, there's a recommendation bot which can plug in straight into a CRM and, based on customer usage or customer history, it can recommend products and upsell. There's an account and billing bot, where most of the questions the bot can handle regarding to billing questions and, account questions. There's a scheduling bot. So all these bots, all these functions is pre-built, and we have taken the common denominator out of, customer service and marketing functions to build these bots out, right? And then and that forms about 60 to 70% of all the transactions today, right? And that's a large piece for us to automate, when we start the journey, right? And the 30-40%, there will always be 20% of the conversations that humans have to handle. Right.
So we're at the top of the hour. I'm willing to stay a little bit longer. We could answer a few questions. There are still people remaining.
Sure.
But understanding that people have to go. So people who have to go, thank you everyone for joining. We hope you enjoyed this presentation and learned a lot. I certainly did. We'll be sending out a replay of this. You could also visit the Suneratech YouTube channel. Just search on Suneratech, and then you'll see a replay posted there that you can see as well. Can you go back to your last slide there? Yes. So Rahul just texted me and said his last name is spelled incorrectly. So it should be Pandey. And so that just to kind of let people know about that. Somebody's asking what our YouTube channel is. I will share that. We're here on the chat window that everybody can kind of see. It's kind of an ugly thing because we haven't gotten. 1 second here to all panelists and attendees and YouTube channel. I think that should work. We've got to actually get a nice one. And so there you have a lot of our webinars and interviews and things like that. And of course, we've been live streaming there as well, and we'll be doing more of this. So a last question, Vinod, what is the unfreezing moment where, obviously people, this is new technology, they kind of know they got to do something. They don't know if it should be this kind of chatbot or that kind of chatbot. When you go and talk to someone and have a conversation with them, when is the moment that you see their eyes like, aha, they get it, and now they're ready to move? What does it take for a customer to get to that point?
Yeah, I think, a fabulous question, Fal. I think one of the things is, the way we have built our bots are very, very closely aligned to the business objectives, right? So that is the aha moment where, they're saying, oh, your bots can do this? Okay. So for example, if you look at any telecom leader, right? So he is kind of fixated on, 3 or 4 key KRAs for him. For him, it's all about how do I increase net promoter score for myself? How do I increase ARPU, right? How do I optimize my cost? How do I monetize more, right? So these are some of the key questions. So when you talk about those and come with a top-down approach where you're saying, hey, you know what? I can meet your business objective using AI, and this is how I can do that, right? So that kind of, gives that people are able to relate to that. Leaders are able to relate to that, right? And say, yes, this sits within my KRAs, right? And these guys look like, they are going to help me achieve those KRAs as a business leader. And they are aligned towards the organizational business objectives. So that's where the aha moment happens. Otherwise, if you just go and talk and, talk a bunch of framework and AI and machine learning, those are not relating, right? Then the disconnect happens. But when you relate to their business objectives, then the connect happens.
Right. So you need to be selling to the business solution as opposed to just a technology discussion, which many people who just sell, say, infrastructure.
Absolutely, sir.
Like that. Right.
Absolutely. Because bots we have seen is not a technology challenge at all, sir.
That's interesting, because I thought it was the opposite, like, oh, you got to train this thing. But it seems like the technology, you've got a pretty good handle on it. Now it's basically adapting that technology to different business cases as you kind of go further in the market.
Right.
Yeah. Great. All right. Well, that's great. That's wonderful. So thank you very much, Vinil. Do you have any other kind of final words that you'd like to say before we sign off?
No, so I think, we are pretty excited. So send us a note. I'm at Vinil at servicenext.ai. So that's a kind of easy name and domain to remember, or send a note to Rahul, or just visit servicenext.ai. And, if you are interested in chatting, then, I would love to get on a call and see what your business objectives are, and how we can help in that conversational AI transformation for your enterprise.
Great, thank you. And Anthony, are you still there? Did we lose Anthony? He might have had to jump on it. Are you on mute, Anthony?
Yeah, I think Anthony's muted.
He was good. Okay. Any chance to come back? Okay, great. I was actually going to ask him more about his Mouthguards. That sounds really interesting. Okay, well, very good. Thank you, Vinil. This has been really great. I've learned a lot. I hope the audience has learned a lot. Audience, we're going to be sending out this information to you on a replay. Again, you could go to our YouTube channel and watch that as well. And we'll be doing more of these. I think this is a great way to communicate with the audience. It's a great way to introduce customers, their peers in the industry who are doing similar things. And I think that's what people want to see, like who else is doing it, how are they doing? And that's all stuff that you can share as well because of your vast experience. So thank you, Vinil. Appreciate it. Thank you, everyone. And have a nice day.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Vinil.
Yeah.
Okay, take care. Bye-bye.